Welcome to the Clashing of Steel. And today I will be playing Ambiorix and using my archers to the best of my abilities. Starting in a somewhat bad spawn location and alone is not a good start. At least I will try to make it work. I'll be hiding my units behind these buildings, just in case there should be other ranged units. There are a couple of these interesting locations where you can hide archers between these buildings or streets. And these types of locations can be really valuable, especially if opponents are very aggressive. Maybe I should have gone and supported the inner city or around the Colosseum, but opponents are a bit more aggressive here, so I can use this location a bit better. And from the shadows seems to be paying off rather well. Just to be safe, I'm seeing elephants and I'm pulling slightly back. I'm retreating. I do not want to be exposed and I can't take the elephant's head on, they're too tanky. And of course, Crippling shot will be buying me time to disengage. And so I must do a tactical retreat. I can't stay in the city because there are too many infantry units lurking around. Of course, there are also elephants who keep forcing me to run, and that is what I must do. I think the city is basically lost. There are so many opponents there, and we have two players who pretty much went fully offensive. I'm sure it does not work out for them, especially since the elephants are lurking around. Fortunately or unfortunately, the elephants didn't come after me. And now we have the infantry to deal with. It actually feels like we are getting hit from most sides. Even the city seems to be somewhat lost. There are too many of these opponents there, and our players can't hold them, or aren't able to hold them because of their numbers. And we are not able to support them because we are so far apart. I was the closest to them. I could have probably gone and supported them, but I just didn't want to leave a hole in these city streets. And of course I was forced away and we were cut off from them. Right now they have overwhelming numbers in the city, but fortunately we got these swordsmen here. As long as we got them engaged and we can finish them off, we get at least some value out of this messed up situation. The biggest thing that many players forget about these city areas is that it has a lot of bottlenecks. It has good areas, it has bad areas. And around the Colosseum is the most aggressive area. There are so many ways, there are so many roads leading to that area. If I would be left alone or with two players into the city, I would not go that aggressive. I would have left myself in the bottlenecks, but not in these areas. Not behind the Colosseum, not in front of it. Simply because around the Colosseum are the widest streets and they are hard to block off with just a single unit. They often require two units to seal them off. Okay, there is an exception for the spearmen who can easily cover off one long street, but as swordsmen they can't cover it so easily. Swordsmen are better at the narrow streets than on the wider. Even on both sides of this city there are archer pockets in 4 specific locations, and you can use them. And that is basically where the easiest defenses can be made. But I can understand, aggression has its own values if you have support, but not like this. So now basically that we have lost the city, we have lost the forest, we are pretty much stuck around our base. Our elephants are going aggressive and that is a waste from my perspective. If they should have gone there, they should have gone the moment the opposing elephants went. Because right now they are too late to support their infantry and their infantry is too weak to support them. But well, that is one way to get rid of your own elephants. And of course, because of all of these actions, we are forced now to defend our base. And that is actually where my true usefulness kicks in. This was the moment when I took a look at the opposing team's units left alive, and I was surprised when I compared it to my own. We have 14 dead units. We have basically 4 players who aren't playing anymore. Opponents have 5 dead units and basically 1 player who is not playing anymore. And that is a huge problem because they could swarm us and we could do basically nothing about it. But fortunately they think about swarming too soon, and well, these horsemen, they are worthless without the charge. If we can take down the horsemen, we can remove one of the biggest threats. My archers can easily outrun the Roman swordsmen and perhaps even the elephants. Opponents have the lead, and that is not good. We have to deal with all the horsemen, we have to deal with everything that is thrown at us right now. If we can finish them off, perhaps we can buy time to disengage, to toy with our opponents, and eventually beat them. The biggest problem still are the elephants. Everything else can be pretty much handled. So basically, now that we have killed all the horsemen, they're gonna die in a matter of seconds now, we have basically bought ourselves freedom of movement. We can move around without being afraid of horsemen hammering us in the rear. But still, we need to be very careful, because the elephants are alive. They are the biggest and most dangerous things left on this battlefield. In a moment now, I will also be trying to use the crippling shot to delay them, but unfortunately my friendly elephant got stuck behind a tree. And well, since our friendly elephant is stuck there, or perhaps even is turning around, this is our moment to inflict as much damage as we can upon them. We can't kill it, that is for sure. Or at least not all of them. But perhaps we can weaken them enough to finish them off later. Actually, there is another problem rising than the elephants. The archers are getting in range. I need to deal with the archers as well, because if archers get a drop on me, I may lose all of my units. Especially if they should keep chasing me. But fortunately, we have some good horsemen left who are going to go around and take them down. So I don't have to worry about them. I can easily focus the elephants and the infantry. Of course, as it was to be expected, they're going for the cap. And of course, that means my work has just begun. Decapping is often fun, but this is just plain annoying. I will have to be doing it pretty much for next 7 minutes. And of course, there are gonna be annoyances chasing after me. I'm not gonna even bother to defend the catapults, nor anything else. But I will leave my swordsmen to die in the hope of killing the beast. There are so many troops alive. The tier 6 swordsmen, I think they're with Scipio, are still at full health. Basically, the more I look around, the more problems I find. Everything has to be dealt with. Only thing that is going good for me is that the opponents are stationary and they're hoping to cap. And the only one who seems to be acting against me or against my archers seem to be these swordsmen. They could easily just force me and cap this base. They could keep me out of this area so I would not get close. But instead, most of them, or most of their numbers so to say, are trying to cap. And doing so without thinking that I can easily decap them might be a bad choice. But fortunately, there are horsemen still left who have some knowledge of what they should be doing, unlike the swordsmen who just went offense against the elephants. I am actually forced into a bit of a bad position. My best option is to go towards the watchtower. If I go down south, they might surround me. Perhaps I should have been killing the swordsmen, but I fear the elephants so much more. And well, since this match is from before 3.1.7, the crippling shot still has a rather short cooldown, and I'm going to use it to harass everybody. I do like these smart horsemen that my team has left. They do know what to do and understand when it should be done, unlike so many others. They don't go head on into wasteful battles where they have slim chances. They are trying to be smart and waiting for the opponents to mostly expose themselves. And of course, this is where the crippling shot starts to pay off. I will be able to delay these swordsmen who are coming after me, and hopefully inflict enough damage to weaken them enough during that period, or just increase the distance between us. This is another big mistake that they are doing. They're sending in one unit against 2 units. This means I can outmaneuver that one unit, and whomever it goes after is going to be running, and the other one will be inflicting damage and killing or weakening that unit. This is why you shouldn't send one infantry unit against multiple ranged units. And so sending these swordsmen after me right now is a little too late. They might have been able to just force me out of this area. But instead they all wanted to cap, and that was their undoing. It kinda feels crippling that I am the cause of so much trouble. But then again, they failed to counteract me when they had the chances. So basically, I am left to roam free and will wreak a lot of havoc. There are reasons why I often chase after the archers with units that I know can't catch up with them, but can keep them running or forcing them to run consistently. That is what should have been done here, but apparently everybody wants to cap and everybody wants to get the score. I kinda dislike this elephant. I mean, I have to keep running from it. I can't stop. I need to keep moving. And that is always a bad part. But fortunately I have forest here. And that actually buys me time by slowing down elephants. In the forest he will most likely get stuck behind trees, so I can run around him, run past him, and just delay him. And still they persist with the capping. They could have gone after me a long while ago. They could have just left 2 units to cap and forced me to run, or maybe left 3 units to cap and just kept me running. And with the forest I'm just buying time against the elephant. I'm buying my distance. All the trees are blocking him. It would be even worse if he was in deep, heavy forest. So it appears that my archers are elephant hunters. As long as they keep sending 1 unit after me, they are not buying valuable time. They are not buying anything. I can just counter it with my other unit. They are just wasting that unit against me in hopes of something great. And unless you work together, that is not going to happen. Elephants, swordsmen, spearmen, they mean nothing if you don't know how to use them. If you don't see value in certain tactics, if you don't know how to position which target to chase after. And well, this is the 3rd elephant I'm going to kill. And for doing that, my reward is that only counts as 1. So, kill 3 elephants in a single battle while playing Ambiorix. But okay, now since the biggest threat has been dealt with, let's take a look at the scoreboard. Everything else here on out is just capping and weakening opponents. So, as it even would be a surprise, opponent's best player is the elephants. It doesn't take much just to stomp. And of course, the top 3 players in the opposing team had huge capping score, which I decapped. Their horsemen and archers died in a horrible way, and their archers didn't even get a chance to be useful. And in my team, the last 2 survivors, Ambiorix and Muffin Tuffins, did all we could. Our own elephants died in a horrible way, and catapults didn't get many chances to be useful. It just takes 2 smart players to be left alive in the end to flip this whole game around. Of course, it also depends on the units you have left and the units you are facing against. The sad part is that opponents capped until the power balance shifted to my team's side. They were all just standing there hoping to cap. They should have acted against me when they had the numbers. But sending their infantry and elephants to die 1 by 1 was not a smart choice. They lost what they had, the overwhelming number of units that could have made the difference. And instead it felt like they were sending in their units 1 by 1 as a sacrifice to God they called Ambiorix. I wish I could have shown the chat at this point. They were all swearing, they were all pissed. But that is because they did not use their numbers when they had the chance. I don't like being this ranged unit who just harasses his opposing team and makes a difference because he is ranged. But then again, they didn't act against me accordingly, and that is how I flipped it around. So this was it about this crippling curse of Ambiorix. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.